All right, President Trump is said to be infuriated by the Washington Post report that he ignored direct instructions from his national security advisors not to congratulate Vladimir Putin on his re-election. Joining me now is CNN political analyst Matt Pfizer, CNN commentators Alice Stewart and Bakari Sellers. And Matt, you know, there's paranoia. I mean, we've seen paranoia before. This is justifiable paranoia. Someone is leaking the innermost conversations of the White House, the advice that his national security team is giving him. You could understand why the president and chief of staff are upset about this.
Yeah, and within hours, too. I mean, the president spoke with Vladimir Putin, and within hours, the Washington Post has a report up about what he was supposed to say on the call and what he didn't say. We've had transcripts in the past of some of his calls, which are also sort of a breach, but that stuff goes out a little bit wider, and there was distance, there was time that passed before we got a look at that. So I think, you know, if you're in the White House right now, you know, everybody is suspect, because that is such a small, closely held group of people that has access to that information. So it is very striking, and you have to think that John Kelly, the President of the United States, are very frustrated at this point.
And Alice Stewart, this tells us that there are people who work very, very closely with the president who don't like what he's doing.
Certainly, and I don't blame the president for being furious. I don't blame John Kelly for being furious. They should find this person, kick them out of the White House, and possibly seek prosecution. Look, it's a real problem when you have inner circle members of the White House who are more concerned about their perception outside of the Oval Office than their fidelity inside the office. And that's what we have here, someone who is more concerned about what people think they may not be advising the president on, and that's a real problem. And I agree with the fact, I think he shouldn't have been so congratulatory in his comments to Putin. I think he should have pulled that back quite a bit when you're congratulating a dictator for winning a sham election that doesn't do a whole lot as the leader of the free world and the voice of democracy. I think that's a problem, but also what he didn't say on the call, he didn't call out Vladimir Putin for Russian meddling in the election. He didn't bring up the fact that the chemical attack in the UK, and I understand the president wants a good relationship with Putin, but sometimes you have to show a little tough love and talk about things that are uncomfortable.
Well, to that point, Bakari, you know, the leak aside, don't the American people deserve to know that their president is congratulating, you know, the so-called winner of this so-called election, that the president didn't bring up election meddling and didn't bring up this nerve agent attack?
Well, there are two things. First, you have the leak, and we all believe and all know with a good deal of certainty that it came from the national security apparatus. It came from someone on H.R. McMaster's team, and it's likely because of the fact that they're tired of the president undermining their work to contain Russia, to punish Russia, and to have a strong front against Russia. And I think H.R. McMaster, I mean, to his credit, has basically taken on the tried and true professional method of YOLO. I mean, you only live once. He feels as if he's always under attack. And so this is a way that his team is able to fight back and say that they are not doing what they should be doing, that being the president, to protect the best interests of the United States. That's first. And second, Alice hit the nail on the head. I mean, we as the American public, we deserve to have a president who is standing up for the best interest of our country. And to congratulate a thug who's a dictator of a country that's practically a gas station right now with a nuclear bomb, after they've done things like meddle in our election, meddle in other countries' elections, how you have a nerve agent attack or nerve gas attack on an ally's soil, I mean, to not even bring these things up, I believe is malpractice and malfeasance. And so the American public deserves to know this. So I think it's two fronts. They can find the leak if they want to, but I'm more concerned about the president's acquiescence to Vladimir Putin's wishes.
I will say this, and again, a lot's happened since 2012. A lot has happened since 2012 between Crimea and Russian election meddling and now this nerve agent attack in just the last few weeks. But Barack Obama, when he was president, did call Vladimir Putin in 2012 with a congratulations. So it's not as if these types of calls don't happen ever, but this one certainly happened without any kind of, go ahead, Bakari.
But John, I mean, let's not forget that Barack Obama issued some of the toughest sanctions that we've ever seen against Russia. its economy was spiraling. It was close to bankruptcy. He actually dispelled and kicked out Russian nationals from the United States of America for their meddling. So, I mean, yes, Barack Obama did call him and congratulate him on a victory. However, when you look at the totality of the circumstances, there's no question that Barack Obama, he should have done more, but he also did more than this president is doing to protect our interests. I think Alice and I are correct in saying that he should, all we're asking is for Donald Trump to do more.
And there's no evidence that President Trump has ever said a cross word to or about Vladimir Putin. Guys, stand by. We're going to come back to this discussion in just a moment. But the Homeland Security